Hi everyone, my name is Jenna Redfield and today I'm going to be walking you through my entire Notion setup. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've only shown you guys glimpses of my setup, and for the last couple weeks I've really been tightening it in and really updating it so that it is what I want it to be. So I am going to be walking through that. It's going to be a long video, so grab some popcorn or some snacks and just kind of take it all in because there is going to be a lot here. And I don't want it to be overwhelming, but I just want to say I've spent almost 2 years building this at this point. So it has taken me a long time to figure out, okay, what am I actually going to be tracking? What am I not going to be tracking? How detailed do I get? And obviously it's still a work in progress. It's not done. It's never going to be done. But I think for the most part, I have found all the things for me that are important for me to track, and I thought that they would be helpful for other people maybe starting their Notion journeys into what they could potentially start tracking in their life. There are certain things I don't track, and there's certain things that I track really, really carefully, and some that are a little bit more loose. So let's just get into it. Make sure to subscribe for more Notion content. I just recently became a Notion ambassador, which I'm really excited about. So I have lots of stuff in that group. And then also I have 2 Facebook groups available for you guys to join: Marketing in Notion and ADHD in Notion. So I've got my Notion templates down below. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, my Notion course will be live at some point in fall 2022. I'm still working on it as of recording this and probably publishing it, but it should be coming out soon. So anyways, I wanted to get to the Notion setup. I will say that a lot of this template is available in my ADHD life tracker, but I just wanted to share that a lot of this stuff is stuff that you're gonna have to fill out yourself in terms of the data. So let's just get to it and enjoy. Okay, here we go. This is my Notion. This is my personal Notion. I'm going to obviously blur anything out that is, for example, like a client name or something. But for the most part, I'm going to show you guys my entire Notion setup from start to finish. And I'm going to be going through, I have a list on my phone of all the different databases that I have like quite a bit of information in. And that's really what I want to show you today, is like the layout as well as mostly like what I actually track. So let's just start at the top. So a couple of months ago, I decided to lay out my board or my top of my dashboard with the pillar option. This is something I kind of used before, but once I started really centering every single thing in my life around my pillars, like for the most part, everything, it really, really brought Notion so much cleaner to me. And it was just so much easier to kind of figure out. Another thing I wanted to mention is really take the new icon options and really focus on those, because I love that I can now color coordinate all of my boards based off of the pillar. So the icons match the color of the pillar in all of the databases that have to do with that pillar. So this has been a game changer for me. It looks so much cleaner and it's easy for me to know exactly what pillar it is. Obviously there's a couple of colors that I have a couple times, but there's only so many colors, and there's more pillars than colors. So let's just go through. So with the pillars, one of the things that you can do is you can open them up. And I love this new side angle thing that's new. So what I do here is, you can see over here, I have some related databases. So I relate the Knowledge Vault, which is the tags that I use. I also have books, business projects, and to-do list. So you'll see down here, this is a new thing I've recently started doing with all of the pillars, is I put the Knowledge Vault here as well, just as a quick way to get access to those specific things. I've recently started using List View. I hadn't used List View before, but now with the new icons, I'm definitely seeing the benefits of it that I didn't see before. And so I'm using List View for this. So basically this is a view of the database called the Tags and Knowledge Vault, which is over here in the mindset, and I'll go through that. Basically what this is just a place where I have all the pillars so I can have shortcuts to the specific parts of, so for example, if I were going to go to home and household and I wanted to quickly find my product shopping list, I would go there, right? So these are all in my tag and knowledge vault, which we'll go through again. They're also up here, but obviously they get kind of shortened. So I like to have them down here as well, so it's very easy to find. So with this, I have things. So basically the pillars are just, again, the overarching different things in my life. And then the tag and knowledge vault really is the specific things the specific topics that I have information about or want to store information about them. That's really what the tag and knowledge vault is. It's also a great way to tag content, and we'll go through that as we go through the content area to show which not only pillar, but also which tag it's in. So I'll just go through these. So I've got family. So these are like, your childhood pets, that kind of thing. I've got, let's see. This is like, friends, dating, relationships, networking, that sort of thing. For personal admin, I've got a lot of different things when it comes to money. So some of these have stuff in them, some of them don't. I just kind of want to have a space for them. Entertainment, this is really, movies, TV shows, etc., all the things I'm watching. And then home and household, again, there's a lot in here. I recently moved, so I've got like things like my HOA documents, disaster plan, stuff about my car. I've also got things like I have a virtual garage sale where I put all the things that I am trying to sell. And then I've got actually things like, fashion, makeup, hair, all of that goes in home and household. Moving over to business project. I actually have this one sorted by the business project database. So all of this is available in my template. So I have like all the different projects I'm working on, as well as the tag and knowledge about business, because I have my own business. So I do a lot of stuff with that. So again, this is where I might have to blur. So within the client and operations, I have all these things. Again, we'll be going through all of this, so don't worry, I'm kind of skimming right now, but we'll go through a lot more of this in depth. I've got the content creation pipeline. So this is actually my template that I sell, and you would see it, I literally have it all here. And then I've got all my different marketing goals, as well as the different projects that I'm working on. So it's a quick access to all of the different things I'm doing for marketing. And then I also have my content calendar planned out. And then I have, for me, my YouTube is like the thing that I'm planning the most. So I have that as well. For sales and marketing, I don't have that much because I put most of that in content. For mental clarity, again, I have my tags and knowledge vault. So these are all the different topics. Health and fitness, I actually have a lot of options as well. And then mind expansion learning, I've got, this shows all of my different, so this is where I host the actual tags and knowledge vault. So I have everything, but I actually do have some, and you'll see if you view more, I do have some when it comes to mind expansion learning. So this is basically the entire list of all of the different topics that I have information on. So my tags and knowledge vault is definitely one of my biggest areas, and that's where I put a lot of content in. It's not the only area though, so I definitely want to go through some of it because there are specifically things within the tag and knowledge vault that have their own databases. So what I did yesterday, actually, let me go back, is I actually added asterisks to the different projects within the tags and knowledge vault that had additional databases within them. So for example, the client questionnaire forms, I will click on this. Basically, I have a list of all of my clients and I have their PDF questionnaires from when they worked with me. So that's something that I have there. Let me go through and find another example. So for movies, if you go into movies, you'll see I'm actually going to make it list view so you can see all the movies. I haven't added icons to this one, but you'll see I have a list of all the movies I've ever watched. You can also go in and change the properties to, the specific, like, what would it be? It would be under category. So if you have, a rant to comedy, whatever, I've set all that up. You can see it also in this view. So I've got different movies. I also show the status. So if there's a movie I want to see, I will add, current, paused, later to watch. I have all these different statuses. I've got the platform that they're on. And I also have tagged like famous people. So if I'm like, I want to watch an Elijah Wood movie, I don't know. I get a little over with this. Like I get a lot, like I'm kind of crazy. But basically I have all this information that is super helpful for people. If I'm like, oh, what was that movie with that? It's almost like my own personal IMDb, which I use a lot anyways. So again, I kind of like to track the movies that are coming out that I want to see in the future. And then if someone's like, what's a great movie from our childhood? I can literally go in and be like, hey, I've tagged a lot of movies as like childhood. So I'm like, hey, you remember this movie? You remember this movie? I like to be like a walking encyclopedia. That's just my personality. So having all of this listed is super helpful for me as a person. I've always been a list person. I've always loved having lists in my head of things that I want to remember. And not everyone is like that. So if you're not like that, that's fine. This is just me, and this is how I do Notion in my life. So if you'll see, so this again is the home section, and we'll go through a lot of these databases because I want to, again, show you all the different ones that I have. But these are the ones, these 5 are the ones that I probably use the most and are the ones that I include in my template as well. So the brain is actually a template that I used to have all of them in one big database. What happened is there was way too many things in that database, and it got me very confused. I had to do so many different filters that a couple of months ago I decided, know what, I'm just going to separate all the databases into the different categories. So like movies, TV shows, books, they were all in the same database, and it got way too much for me. There was way too much content in there, so I have now separated it. Plus, Notion has this new option where you can have different databases within, like, as you're going through, right? So I have the following. I have TV shows, books, movies, podcasts, and YouTube channels. These are ways for me to quickly see, okay, what am I currently watching? So like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm watching that on Disney Plus. Actually, it just changed from Netflix. I got to change that. But basically, it's allowed me to be like, all right, I'm watching, for example, I'm watching Suits right now. It kind of just helps remind me, what am I currently watching? What do I need to catch up on? And, so right now I'm filtering it to only show TV shows where the status is current. I could go into that actual thing, which is actually in the tags and knowledge vault. So if I click on this, you'll see that it's actually within the tags and knowledge vault. And this is a view of that database. If you go over to books, same thing. I have right now, again, you can view it in whichever way you want. You can view it this is in what's it called? The board view. I do like board view a lot. I like all the views. I honestly, like, there's different ways that I do different things, but you can add as many different views as you want, but they're all separate. So you'd have to add a book view that's a list. You could add a book view that's a whatever, table view, whatever it is. You can have YouTube channels. I have literally lists of all the different things I'm doing. So I'll go through this maybe a little bit more in depth, but I just kind of want to run through this at the beginning. So within this is a really important one that I use a lot. This is my grocery shopping and meal planning list. So if I'm out of something, for example, I'm out of milk right now. So I could just type in milk, right? 1%. Right now it shows in stock. I can move that to grocery list and then immediately go over to my grocery list, and you'll see that milk 1% is now there. That is so important for me as someone who forgets how, what's in stock. Like yesterday I went grocery shopping and I got the hot cocoa mix. So now I'm going to change that to in stock. I also got my frozen pineapples. So the only thing on my grocery list right now is really milk. The other things I'm actually probably going to move these out. I think I have this in stock. So like I'm going through it. I'm like, if it's out of stock, but I don't need it, I move it to out of stock. I'm also going to do that. So right now, the only thing on my grocery list is milk. So I'm actually going to go run and get some at some point because I really need it for something. So I have the master list over here, and all of this is within the health and fitness area where I have it in food and nutrition. So you'll see this is where the original databases live, but over here is just a view of that database. So you can see that I have the location, which is actually its own database, which I'll show you, the store that I buy it at, category, and then also what meals and recipes they're in. And I did go through and add icons to all of my meals and recipes. I also have like expiration dates options if you want to add that. And that's a really cool thing to have as well. So for me, as someone who, I make food for myself, I need to have something where if I'm like, oh, I'm out of this, I can quickly go into Notion, quickly find my master list, search for the item that's already usually in there, and then just change the status to grocery list. So that's really what I do for that. The next thing is my product shopping list. So this is basically my Amazon list. I go into Amazon, and usually if I find something I want, I'll add it to my cart, but then I'll save it for later if I don't want to buy it right then, if I want to do some more research on it. So this is kind of my ongoing list of things that I need. Now, this is different than products that I own. Once I buy the product, I will move it into that database because then I like to track all the things I own. Again, I am a lot, and this is not how everyone needs to run their lives, but this is just how I need to be able to know what I own, know where things are, and just have kind of an overarching sense of like what I just moved. So now everything's in different rooms than it used to be. So I'm going through and updating everything. Again, I'm just like putting a warning out there. This is kind of like intense Notion. So if you're not into this, you can just, not watch this video. But anyways, so the next category is my to-do list. And I love these new icons. They're so fun. So you can see I have, and all this is in the template. So I've got my to-do list. What I recently added, which I think you'll find it over here, is a goals area. So when it comes to your to-do list, everything on your to-do list should end up going towards a goal, right? So even if it's getting gas at Costco, that, allows you to keep your house up. It's like doing the things that you need to do, laundry, just that house upkeep. That is the goal, is to have your house upkept. For taxes, like the goal is to, make more money, generate income. So it's just like making sure that each of your to-do lists has a goal attached. Some of these, I have a lot. I haven't updated some of the icons for some of these. I also have it with the pillars. I've got the due date versus the DO date, the DO date versus the due date, which is a August Bradley thing. I've got the priority, and then I've also got the status. So is it not started? And then I also have a ton of different statuses. So is it an errand? Is it someone I need to contact? And then recently they started adding this. Oh, I haven't changed this. You can add like the percentage. So this is, I don't know if I want to get into this. Basically, you can create a formula from another template that basically is like, have you done it yet? How many statuses are part of this project? Yeah, I'm not going to get into that because that's going to be a little bit too much. I just kind of want to go through all the different databases today. Then I've got the business project as part of. If it's a marketing thing that I have to do, I also have a marketing project database. I also have a contacts, and then I just have a couple of other things. But this is really my to-do list. There's a lot on this list, but it's everything I need to do, right? So I've also got all the other items, which are my daily checklist. So this is basically every day. It will allow me to go like this. If I check something off, you'll see it adds it to the bottom. This is part of my template as well. But basically it like reminds me, and M stands for morning and N stands for evening. Basically what this does is it allows me to check off the things I need to do every day. And that's really helpful for me. And then the other one, and I'm probably going to be redoing some of this a little bit. So the daily glance is basically all of the other databases. If you fill them out, it'll show all of the things that you've done. So if I go in, you'll see these are all of the roll-ups. So I've got meals, vitamins, steps that you've taken, outfit. All this stuff will be added up if you fill out the other databases. And I've done a couple of videos on this, so if you want more, go follow those videos. Again, this video is really just a walkthrough of everything that I have. The daily workout summary, similar to the daily checklist. Have I weighed myself? Did I go on my walk? That kind of thing. Skincare, this is like helpful for me if I'm like, all right, well, what day is it on my skin cycle? I did a video on that last week, so you can watch that video if you want more about the skin cycling. I've got my daily journal, and then I've got just like a couple other things. So that's my to-do list. And then my content calendar. So this is, for me, I have the actual dates, right? So I should filter it for just like this week. Let me go. So if I wanted to filter it, so it's just like, let's do like October, today's the 15th, through November 1st, you'll see I have, you can see the ones where the things are not empty. So I can remove all of these and then I can see everything. So now you'll see all of the dates. You'll see any upcoming YouTube content I have, and I need to go through that. And then I also have my YouTube content list. The YouTube content list is the one that I probably look at the most because it's the thing that I need to plan out ahead of time. And so that's why I have it here. So a lot of these are just ideas and like potential published dates because again, it changes every week. But these are just ideas that I have for Notion and ADHD stuff. So that's really the walkthrough. And then I have a couple of databases here that are just the originals. But that is kind of a walkthrough. Obviously, this is not all of the stuff. I want to go through a lot of the stuff in the tags because that is really where a lot of my databases live, and there are a lot of them. So let's just, I guess, go to the mind expansion area, and I'm going to go through each of these. So if they have an asterisk, that means that there is a database within, and so those are the ones I'm going to go through. So the first one is apps. I recently went through this and found all of the apps that I use. It took me quite a bit of time, like a couple weeks ago. I'm actually going to make this list view as well. I haven't. So you'll see that I have like a list of a ton of different apps, and I can sort them by like pillar too. So if I wanted to add the pillar, let's just do pillar. So if I wanted to sort, I could sort by the pillar. So you'll see that I have literally all of these different apps that I use. This is helpful if someone's like, hey, Jenna, do you know something that does this? And I'm like, yes, look, let me check my app list. So I personally have this. This is available in my template. It's not 100% up to date, but I did add this to the, it's part of, I think it's part of the, I think it should be in both the ADHD and the other one. So basically just like a lot of, and then all these have links as well. So they have the actual URL. But I thought that was really helpful for myself to have a list of all the apps that I use. So that's the first thing that I have. As you scroll through, one of my new ones that I'm really focused on is my goal setting database. So basically what this is, and you can see it in different views. Let me view it in, shoot, I don't have it in list view. Okay, so I have just like, these are just like goals of mine in life. Like some of these, like I want to go on Armchair Expert. Like these are just like things that I want to accomplish. Some of these are like more vision boardy. Like these are things that I just want to do, and take an improv class, like go back to Toastmasters. Like there's all these things that I want to do at some point. I have them again sorted by pillar. So you can see the statuses over here. I could also, if you see it in the, in the table view, you'll see that I also have, is there a to-do item with it, right? So those are kind of correlated with the relations. I've got the status. And then over here, I added this recently. When do I want to accomplish this? So I've added quite a few of these to Q4 of this year, and as well as the year. So some of these I kind of was like, I don't know, when am I going to be an Armchair Expert? In like maybe 10 years? I don't know. Like that's just like a kind of more of a dream, not always a goal. But I wanted to put at least just it on my thing and be like, all right, by 2023, or sorry, 2032, I would like to be on Armchair Expert. That's like one of my favorite podcasts, and that means that I've gotten somewhere in life that I could be a guest on that show. For me, again, I don't think that, who knows if that's actually going to happen, but having it on your list of things to do and your goals is really helpful to just visualize yourself being there. So I put that on this list, and I put it like 10 years in the future. So you can also, I also have this time frame one where it's like, I would like to accomplish this in my lifetime, in the next 10 years, etc. This helps me really know where I'm wanting to go. And then I've got like pillars. I've got, is it completed? There's just like, some of this I got from another template, so I'm still trying to figure this out. But basically that is my goal option. And that is now part of my to-do list as well, is there's a goal attached. So the rest of these are just like information. Let me just show you an example of like one. If I open it up, you'll see that it actually is linked with different options. So over here, you'll see all these different things. So for example, I have some PDFs that I've downloaded, and we'll go through the PDFs area, but I have related them over to niche because that's what the topic is. So again, the tag and knowledge database is about topic. So if I clicked on this and I have, this is part of my PDF, I literally have a PDF that I downloaded about that topic. So within the PDFs one, I know exactly what content I have within niching. So I have that for most of these. All right. I mentioned this before, but I have this client questionnaire form. I'm not going to open it, but basically when I had coaching clients, I would have them fill out a questionnaire. I would download it as a PDF and then upload it into the individual client's area just so I have a copy. I don't like to have PDFs on my computer if possible, so I like to upload them into Notion and have that be the safe place. I also have a contacts folder. I am going to open this. I'm going to have to blur out all of this, but basically it's people in my life. If you open it in the table view, you will see it has what's their tag? So I've got like, is this a 2014 client, 2015 client? And then I have, all of these different things. I've got their statuses if they're done. You can also add things like your last interaction, that sort of thing. Again, this is a lot more stuff. I don't actually fill all of this out, what's their gender, what type of, project was it? And then I added information about their opt-in form. So again, I haven't been taking on as many clients lately, so I feel like if I did, I would bring that back to life and do that a little bit differently. I also have something called so then a lot of them, they are part of like a brand. So I wanted to have a brand list and relate that over to the contact so that I know which company they work for. So that's just another thing. All right, let me see. Okay, so then we get into the content creation area. Some of these lists are things that I'm doing. So for example, I would have like a list of my Instagram posts, but some of these are things like I follow different people on their email list. So I have specifically, what are the email lists I'm subscribed to? And then I link that back to, I call the famous people. I know it sounds weird. It's different than contacts. Contacts are people I know. Famous people are people that I follow online, like influencers, people that, books I've read, actors, that sort of thing. So I link all of these back over to that actors area so that I know, the famous people area, so that I, know, for example, like Tim Ferriss. He's someone I follow his podcast and I'm subscribed to his email list. So I know where I am like connected with him. So I have a list of all of that in my email list. I need to update that. I subscribe to quite a few emails. Influencer marketing. I have a list of like bloggers and Instagrammers that are like local to me, that are influencers because I run a local community. And so basically I have that list. Again, it's just basically their name and their Instagram link. I'm not probably going to open that. And anything about influencer marketing, I can just pop into this tag or knowledge vault. For TikTok, one of the things that I have is I have a list of songs that I like on TikTok. But I'm probably going to get rid of this database because it goes too fast. And I'm like, the songs are out of date within 2 weeks. I'm like, I can't do that in Notion. So just note that like there's certain things that I've put in Notion that I'm like, I don't think that's worth tracking. Some things like games. So these are like games that I have at my house. If someone's like, let's play a game, I'm like, oh, I have my list of games to play. For famous people, I mentioned this one. These are people, again, like people I follow. If you see it in list view or in table view, again, like actor. And then I can link over to the movies that they're in. I've learned that this is like not super important to me and like I don't need this, but I thought it was kind of cool to like, as I was learning Notion, I was like, this is a cool way to like connect to different things. So again, probably overkill and something that most people don't need to do. I just really like pop culture, so I really like to track certain things. Okay, so let's go into TV shows. So this again, shows that I watch, you can see it in different views. The status, am I watching it? Have I seen it? I don't know. I need to add the icons for these ones. That's like the one I haven't done. There's just so many of them. It's going to take me forever. And then YouTube channels that I watch. So these are just people that I subscribe to. Am I watching them? Have I not watched them for a while? Again, just putting this out there on the internet is kind of embarrassing because I'm like, this is so intense. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so much to this. Okay. So one thing is for example, I have seen Ancestry and Genealogy Notion templates. I know Notion Things has one. I'm like, no way. There's no way I'm going to do that in Notion. That's going to be so difficult. I just use Ancestry. They already have a tree. It's so much easier. So there's certain things where I'm like, I don't need Notion for that. But I do have that in case I want to tag anything as Ancestry, Genealogy, or Family History. And I do have some PDFs. My great-grandmother wrote a story of her life. I have that on PDF, and I have, you'll see, linked that from my PDFs. It was called The Way It Was. So for me, having that tag still in the tags and knowledge vault is super helpful. This is really weird. I'm extremely nostalgic. So I actually have a childhood toys board where I found all of my Barbies and things because I like, try to remember all the things I used to play with growing up. My paper dolls. I was very into being a child, so I have a childhood toys thing. It's just nostalgia for me. That's something I do. For community building, I actually have networking events I attended. I went through a couple months ago and I was like trying to count up how many networking events I've attended. I've attended 136. Isn't that crazy? So I just kind of wanted to have a list just in my head of all the different groups I've been to. So if someone's like, hey, I want to go to a networking group, what's a good one? I'll like go to that list. And then also Facebook groups that I'm in. So these are just ones that I've been part of. Again, it's just another database with the name and information. All right. The body one is a new one. I've recently kind of refigured this. So this is just basically body parts. No, it sounds weird. But if there's any information about something, if it's a workout, if it's something to do with, a product or something, I can have a specific database page for that. And that's something that I realized recently I should do. So for example, like dentists and teeth, I could link over to my dentist and like have a reminder when I need to go in. My eyes, I can put my eye information about my glasses and contacts. So for me, just having like a board for each part of my body is really helpful. All right, fitness and exercise. This is great if you have like specific workouts that you do. I just have a list of like different things. I need to redo some of these. This is one I have to probably work on. Food and nutrition, I've done this one already, but basically I have two main databases. I have the actual master list of my groceries and supplements, and then I also have my meals and recipes, which I've recently redone. I've done a whole video on this, so go watch that one. I go into way more in depth into my meal planning. And then I've got, let's scroll down. So with Cricut, I don't know if you know what Cricut is. I have like a list of different shirts I want to make with my Cricut. If there's like different funny phrases, I don't know. I made that list a long time ago. I haven't looked at it in a while. I've got, so locations. This is one that I created a couple months ago. And that's basically, let me view it in list view so you can see it. Basically, it's all of the different locations in my house. So I can tag things. So I've got, where things are in my house. So if I'm looking for them, I know where they are. Again, this makes me seem super OCD, but this is like, again, something that I'm like trying to figure out for myself. Okay. I mentioned the product shopping list. These are, again, the things I want to buy. When I'm done with these, I put them in the products and assets list, which I am going to turn into, add view. I'm going to make this list view. So basically and I haven't updated all the icons for these. These are all the things I own. Basically, I have pictures of a lot of the things. So I usually view this in gallery mode. So I have things like, my glasses, different items I have in my bathroom. So this also allows me to change them into, so for example, if I open up this cleanser, you'll see I have a status of use up, which means use up means I'm not going to buy it again. So I have all of the different statuses here. Like I've got repurchase, sell, donate, keep, etc. So for this specific cleanser, I'm probably never going to buy it again. So my status is use up. And then once it's gone, I'll probably delete it from my database. So that is my products and assets. I've done a couple of videos on those as well. So if you want to look at that, that is something. Skincare is another one. I just redid this the other day. I've got like all the different things for my face. And then I just did that video last week. I don't need to go through that. All right. Let's see. So for emotions, moods, health. So this, I literally went through all these yesterday. So they are up to date. I've got just different things to do with mental health issues. And just if I have information about some of these, I thought that they were a good place to store it. Again, I use Notion to store all of my information about different things that I find. I've also got one on personality tests. So if a lot of my friends are really into the Enneagram, so we talk about that. So I have like a list of all the different personality tests out there. Again, some of these are not like fully formed, but there's a lot. I've got different types of therapy. I went to therapy for the first time this year, and I was just looking into all these different therapies for myself. All right, so then I've got articles. I'm literally just going through the ones that have databases. Articles I found that are interesting. You can use the Notion Chrome extension to save articles to that database if you want to. Articles on diversity that are really important. Obviously, I live in Minneapolis. There was the riots here a couple years ago, so I tried to find a bunch of resources for people in my community. So I have those listed there. This is a big one that I don't think I've talked about frameworks and abbreviations. So I just started using this recently, and that is, okay, these are like almost like acronyms or things that I want to remember from maybe a book or something that I have maybe a screenshot or something. So I have frameworks, or, and you'll see as you scroll through, you might recognize some of these. Some of them are from different books. I always see things that have acronyms and I never remember what they are. So having, like, for example, what a habit loop is from Atomic Habits, like having these different frameworks available for me so that I remember them, because again, usually the whole book is about that framework. And so remembering what the framework was, having some notes about it is really helpful for me as someone who makes content and likes to remember content. This is an important step. So frameworks and abbreviations is a good one that I've recently tried to get better at with taking notes. Okay, mindset and identity sculpting. So these are like mindset things. So these are kind of like productivity goals. A lot of these are just like terms that I want to remember when it comes to, so for example, like the 12 favorite questions is something that I've learned recently. And if you Google 12 favorite questions, you'll find information about that. But there's a lot of different things I just want to remember. And then online courses, these are courses that I have taken or have purchased. And I actually have them, a lot of the PDFs or links. And you'll see over here, I actually have created all of the course names. So I went through FG Society, which is a sales funnel training last year, and it was a very intensive program. And so I have all of the individual, so if I literally open one of these, you'll see that I have, I believe, the PDF for that specific, topic. So I downloaded all the PDFs from that training. So if I was like, I want to remember what closing part in FG Society part 2 was, I can go in and find that. So that's really where I put all of my online course information. I feel like there's stuff in here. I missed. Yeah, so there's like some other productivity things, mental maps, and different things I want to remember when it comes to productivity. And then also my PDFs folder. The PDFs one is actually a really cool thing that I do. So you can see when I download a PDF from like a freebie on a website, I will pop it in here, link it to the person. I will link it to a book. So sometimes you read a book and they're like, download my free PDF from the book. And so then I link it over to the book. So for example, Traction from the book, Traction, the EOS system, I literally have it in here, right? So I have that. And then if I click on the book, right? If I go over to the book, you'll see that it links it over here. So I don't know. I just think it's so cool. Sorry. I'm going to reiterate this like 5 times in this video. This is like really intense, and you do not have to do this. I just do this. And for the people that are like me and want something like this, that's who this video is for. Just FYI. Okay. So I've got the PDFs. And then I basically just upload the PDF directly into the different things that I'm doing. So I have a ton. And then again, I sort it by color, which is by the pillar of that. So for example, these are all business things. So I have them yellow. For coaching stuff, I have red because that has to do with clients. Blue, again, has to do with planning content. So all of them is blue, 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 blue. This makes it so much better to me. I love the colors for the icons. This has been really, really helpful. Okay. So that's my PDFs, and the PDFs, I just love the PDFs. And then I have linked them over to the tags as well. So they're sorted that way as well. I do have some school stuff from like high school, middle school, but I don't have it in Notion yet. It's still in my Google Drive. I'm trying to get that out. I don't have a lot here yet for personal finance because I'm not great at personal finance and it's something I want to learn. So that's why I'm adding all this stuff. But I have, for example, like my bank login info. I'm not gonna open that obviously. And then just like things about like, for example, taxes. I did go through and put like my 2020 taxes. So that basically as a business owner, I have to go in and find all the things that I bought for my business. So I had to go through whether that's a subscription, which is another thing I have on here. So that could be like my Netflix or, well, things I use for work would be like Stripe or, Canva or my website or Google Drive, whatever it is, I can add those to my taxes as business expenses. So I think that Notion is a great way to do your taxes because it's like a Excel file, right? So you can do it within Notion. All right, we're getting to the end. I've got sales and pricing. I don't even know what's in here. There's not much. Yeah, basically like stuff about sales, like the 3 R's of selling. I just put some notes. I just have the drop down arrows. And then again, I use most of these tags in Knowledge Vault, similar to how August Bradley has set up his, where it's basically the tag. It's the thing that like links everything together. So if you want to learn about sales, I have 3 different frameworks. I've got different PDFs on sales. I also have different books on sales. So for me, having that has been super, super helpful to be like, all right, if I want to learn about sales today, what are the books that I want to read? Or what are the whatever. All right, the last 2, packing list. So this is one, actually, I'm going to add asterisks. These are things that I, like if I was going to travel somewhere, I'd have my packing list and then I just have a status. It's really simple. It's just the basic stuff that I need on my packing list. So if you're traveling, Notion's a great tool for that. And then I also have a list of like trips I've been on. If I wanted to, I could add, I actually have diaries from my trips as a kid. I would love to, take pictures of those and add them as like text so I can remember all the things I did on those trips. But I'm not a big traveler, honestly. And so I know a lot of people ask about travel. I don't travel that much. I haven't been on a plane in like 3 years. So I don't do as much traveling as some people. So I don't use Notion as much for that. So those are all of my tags and all of my databases. This is kind of what I wanted to walk through today. If I go back, I wanted to mention, I do have quite a bit of this in my template. So if you wanted to grab that, it is $30 for just the life tracker and all this stuff. And if you also want the content stuff, which I guess I'll rock through real quick, that is an additional either $15 separately or it's $40 with both of them as a bundle. So one thing I did want to mention with the content creation pipeline, which I've done videos on this, I think it's important to go through and be like, all right, so like each of these has their own list of things that you can make. So for example, for a podcast, I actually did a podcast for almost 5 years and I've recently brought it back, but I just went through and I have a list of all of the different episodes and I have the full transcripts of all the episodes so I can search for things. I've recently added it to the Knowledge Vault as well. So I literally have all of my different episodes. They can link to a specific person in my contact list. The description of the episode. Yeah, these are just, and then the date it came out, the link specifically to it. I try to just have everything in Notion that I need. So I have, transcripts of all of my stuff. I also, if you go to my YouTube one, actually, I used to have a blog. I don't have it anymore, but I wanted to save all of my blog content. So I put it in Notion as specifically, so if you open one up, you'll see I actually have the blog content. So I basically took all my blog content off my blog and put it in Notion just so I have it to save if I ever needed it again. I just found I don't like writing that much, so I prefer making videos. So I just kind of removed that from there. But another thing that I do have is I have all of my YouTube videos. So if you look at my YouTube videos from a gallery perspective, you will actually see, let me turn this off. You will see all of my old videos, right? So I have all of the videos I've ever uploaded with their thumbnail. So I can kind of go through and like remember all the YouTube videos I've done. Some of them are archived now. Gosh, I have so many videos. And so I've done a ton of videos on different topics. But yes, that is my Notion 2022. This was a lot. And even just going through this with you guys, and if you're still here, thank you for sticking around. This was a lot. And I know some people are going to think I'm insane, but this is just who I am. This is why I love Notion. This is my brain. This is my personality. And this is how I use this app. And I just wanted to say, for those of you like me and who are seeing all the potential, I'm really excited for you to get started on your journey. My template is a great place to start because it has a lot of this stuff in it already set up. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe for more Notion content. I am coming out with a course at some point. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye!